Hi everyone, welcome back. And today I am going to be reading Chapter 4 of Mr. Popper's Penguins. Chapter 4, Captain Cook. "Oh, who Captain Cook?" asked Mrs. Popper, who had come in so quickly that none of them had heard her. "Why, the Penguin," said Mr. Popper. "I was just saying," he went on as Mrs. Popper sat down suddenly on the floor to recover from her shortness.
What?
Surprise. "That we name him after Captain Cook. He was a famous English explorer who lived about the time of the American religion. He had sailed
Religion? Where?
Revolution. He sailed all over where no one had ever been before. He didn't actually get to the South Pole, of course, but he made a lot of important scientific discoveries about the Antarctic regions. He was a brave man and a kind leader. So I think Captain Cook would be a very suitable name for our penguin here." "Well, I never," said Mrs. Popper. "Gork," said Captain Cook, suddenly getting lively again. With a flap of his flippers, he jumped from the tub to the washstand and stood there for a minute surveying the floor.
Doing what to the floor?
Surveying the floor. Then he jumped down, walked over to Mrs. Popper, and began to peck her ankle. "Stop! Stop him, Papa!" screamed Mrs. Popper, retreating into the hallway with Captain Cook after her. Retreating into the hallway with Captain Cook after her, and Mr. Popper and the children following. In the living room she paused. So did Captain Cook, for he was delighted with the room. Now a penguin might look very strange in a living room, but a living room looks very strange to a penguin. Even Mrs. Poppers had to smile as they watched Captain Cook, with a light of courtesy in his excited clear eyes, and his back tailcoat dragging pompously behind. His little pinkish feet suit from the upholstered chair to another, pecking at each to see what it was made of. Then he turned suddenly and marched out to the kitchen. That's the penguin. That's the penguin. That was what they found. It's black and white, but his feet are actually orange. "Maybe he's hungry," said Janny. Captain Cook immediately marched up to the refrigerator. Work!
Her name is Janie.
I said Janie. Work! He inquired, turning to slat his head wisely at Mrs. Popper and looking at her pegly with his right eye. He certainly is cute, she said. I guess I'll have to forgive him for biting my ankle. She probably only did it out of the coursery. Anyways, he's a nice, clean-looking bird.
Curiosity, out of curiosity.
Curiosity. Anyway, he's a nice, clean-looking bird. Work! Repeated the pigeon, nibbling at the middle handle of the refrigerator door with metal handle of the refrigerator door with his abstract beak. Mr. Popper opened the door for him, and Captain Cook stood very high and leaned his sleek black head back so that he could see inside. Now that Mr. Popper's work was over for the winter, the icebox wasn't quite so full as usual, but the penguin did not know that. What?
Stop pulling your head like that.
It would hurt.
Well, I'm going to pull your hair worse if you keep doing that.
What do you suppose he likes to eat? Asked Mrs. Popper. Let's see, Mr. Popper, as he removed all the food and set it on the kitchen table. Now then, Captain Cook, take a look. The penguin jumped up onto a chair from there and onto the edge of the table, flapping his flippers again to recover his balance. Then he walked sullenly around the table and between his dishes of the food, inspecting everything with the greatest interest. Through he touched nothing.
He touched what?
Nothing. Finally, he stood still, very creepy. He raised up his beak to point at the ceiling and made a loud, almost purring sound. He trilled. That's a penguin's way of saying, "How pleased is it?" said Mr. Popper, who had read about the Arctic barks and Arctic books. Apparently, however, that what Captain Cook wanted to show was that he was pleased with her kindness rather than with their food for now. For now, to their surprise, he jumped down and walked into the dining room. I know, said Mr. Popper. We ought to have some seafood for him. Canned shrimps or something. Or maybe he isn't hungry yet. I've already read that penguins can go for a month without food. Mama, Papa, called Bill. Come see what Captain Cook has done. Captain Cook. Here's a picture. It's on the dining room table with all the food.
Is it stuck?
Take a look. The penguin jumped into a chair. Captain Cook has done it all right. He had discovered a bowl of goldfish on the dining room windowsill. By this time, Mrs. Popper reached over to lift him away. He had already swallowed the last goldfish. Bad, bad penguin, reported Mrs. Popper, glaring down at Captain Cook. Captain Cook squatted flatly at the carpet and tried to make himself look small. He knows he has done wrong. Mr. Popper isn't he smart? Maybe we could train him, said Mrs. Popper. Bad, naughty captain, she said to the penguin in a loud voice. Round black. Bad to eat goldfish. She spanked him on his round black head. Before she could do that again, Captain Cook hastily wiggled up to the kitchen. There the Poppers found him trying to hide in the seal of the refrigerator. He was quacking under the ice cube. Cools under which is barely squeezed. Sitting down, his round white curly eyes and looked at them mysteriously.
Where are we at? Mysteriously.
Mysteriously.
Yeah.
From the dimness of the inside of the box, I think that's the right temperature for him. At that, said Mr. Popper. We could let him sleep there at night. But where will I put the food? Asked Mrs. Popper. Oh, I guess we can get another icebox for the food, said Mr. Popper. Look, said Janie, he's gone to sleep. Mr. Popper turned the cold crystal switch its coldest so that Captain Cook could sleep more comfortably. Comfortably.
Yeah.
Then he left the door ajar so that the penguin would have plenty of fresh air to breathe. Tomorrow I will have the icebox service department sent a man out to bore some holes enough for air, he said. And then you put the handle on the inside of the door so that Captain Cook can go. And then out of his refrigerator. As he pleases. Well, dear me, I never thought we would have a penguin for a pet, said Mrs. Popper. Still, he believes pretty well on the whole, and he is so nice and clean that Mr. Pop, that perhaps he will be a good example to you and the children. And how I declare we must get busy. We haven't done anything to watch that bird. Papa, will you help me to set the beans on the table, please? Just a minute, answered Mr. Popper. I just happened to think Captain Cook would not feel right on the floor of the icebox. Pigeons make their nest of pebbles and stones, so I will take some ice cubes out of the tray and put them under him. That way he'll be more comfortable. Hope you guys liked it. See you next one. Bye.
Well, I'm just going to be reading chapter 5. You might as well just keep reading up to then.
No, it's 15 minutes already.
I know, you can just read one more chapter and then the last one we'll make the video separate.
Okay, so I'm going to read you guys chapter 5 with chapter 4. That says 5. The V says 5. Wait, but the V was on the last page.
Yeah, because it's 1, like they put the 1 before the V, meaning it's 1 before 5.
Oh, yeah.
So 1 before 5 means 4.
4. Okay. So we're going to read chapter 5. So let's just start it. Troubles with a penguin. The next day it was cold. It was quite eventful at 432 Proudfoot Avenue. First there was the serviceman and then the policeman and the trouble about the license. Captain Cook was in the children's room watching Jenny and Bill put together a jigsaw puzzle on the floor. He was very good about not disturbing the pieces after Bill had spanked him for eating one. He did not hear the refrigerator serviceman come to the back door. Mrs. Popper had gone marketing and
Where are you at? Yeah, marketing.
for canned chips for the penguin, so that Mr. Popper was alone in the kitchen to explain to the serviceman that what he wanted done to the refrigerator. The serviceman put his tool bag down on the kitchen floor, looked at the refrigerator, and then at Mr. Popper, who would tell the truth. Mr. Popper, who, to tell the truth, had not shaved yet. It was not very tiny, Master, he said. You don't need no ventilating holes in that there door. It's my icebox, and I want some holes to board the door. To board in the door, said Mr. Popper. They agreed about it for a while.
Is it argued about it?
Argued about it for quite a while. Mr. Popper knew that to get the serviceman to do what he wanted, all he had to do was explain that he was going to keep a live penguin in the icebox, and then he wanted his pet to have plenty of fresh air, even though the door was closed. Even though the door was closed. Even though the door was closed all night. He felt a little stubborn about explaining, however. He didn't want to discuss Captain Cook with his unsympathetic serviceman, who was already staring at Mr. Popper as he thought Mr. Popper was not quiet right in his head. "Come on, do what I say," said Mr. Popper. "I'm paying you for it." "With what?" asked the serviceman. Mr. Popper gave him a $5 bill. It made him a little sad to think how many beans it would have bought for Mrs. Popper and the children. The serviceman examined the bill carefully, as if he didn't trust Mr. Popper too much. But at least he put it in his pocket, took it from the drill from his tool bag, and made 5 small holes in the net pattern on the refrigerator door. "Now," said Mr. Popper, "don't get up. Wait a minute. There's one more thing." "Now what?" said the serviceman. "I suppose now you want me to take off the door of its hinges to let a little more air? Or do you want me to take a radio set out of your icebox?" "Don't get funny," said Mr. Popper, in night that there's no way to talk. Believe it or not, I know what I'm doing. I mean having you do. I want you to fix a little extra handle on the side of the box so it can be opened from the inside of the box. That's it, the serviceman. Is a fine idea. You want a little extra handle on the inside? Sure. He picked up his tool bag. "Aren't you going to do it for me?" asked Mr. Popper. "Oh, sure, said the serviceman, and going towards the back door. Mr. Popper saw that for all his words of agreement, the serviceman had no introduction of putting on an inside handle. "I thought you were a serviceman," he said. "I am. That's kind of a serviceman. I don't even know how to put an extra handle on the side of an ice box door." "Oh, I don't. Don't I? Oh, I don't I? I think I don't know how. As fair as that goes, I've even got a spare handle in my tool bag. And plenty of screws. You needn't think I don't know how to do it if I wanted to, Mr. Popper." Mr. Popper suddenly reached into his pocket and gave the serviceman his last $5 bill. He was pretty sure that Mr. Popper would be annoyed at him for spending all that money, but it could have not helped. "Master," said the serviceman, "you win. I'll fix your extra handle. And while I'm doing it, you sit down on that chair over there facing me. Where can I keep an eye on you?" "Fair enough," said Mr. Popper, sitting down. The serviceman was still on the floor putting the final screws that held the new handle in place. When the penguin came out to the kitchen, his slant pink feet, surprised at seeing a strange man sitting on the floor. Captain Cook quietly walked over and began to pet him furiously. But the serviceman was even more surprised than Captain Cook. "Work," said the pigeon. Or perhaps it was the serviceman. Mr. Popper was not sure what had happened. When he picked up himself to the chair a moment later, there had been a shower of fine tools, a violent slamming of the door, and the serviceman was gone. These sudden noises, of course, brought the children running. Mr. Popper showed them how the refrigerator was now all recommended for the penguin. He showed Captain Cook to by shutting him inside it. Then Penguin at once noticed the shiny new inside handle and bit it with his usual curiously. The door opened and Captain Cook jumped out. Mr. Popper promptly put Captain Cook back inside and shut the door again, to be sure that Mr. Penguin learned his lesson. Before long, Captain Cook became quiet, skillful, and getting out was ready to be taught how to get inside when the door was shut. By the time the policeman had come to the back door, Captain Cook was going in and out the refrigerator as easy as if he had lived in one all his life. So that was chapter 5. I hope you guys liked it. Oh, I forgot to show you the picture.
How many minutes are you
27. So
that page would be 30, so I mean, it takes you like 15 minutes per chapter. It's not bad.
hope you guys liked it. Bye.